During this year's May Day holiday, some mainland Chinese tourists showed a trend of budget traveling when visiting Hong Kong. A group of young mainland travelers spent the night in Hong Kong's McDonald's and KFC's without paying for accommodation. Photos of this were shared on social media. During the holiday, many popular tourist spots in Hong Kong saw a surge in visitors, with a large number of mainland tourists arriving. The land border crossings were especially crowded. However, some Hong Kong citizens posted on social media, mentioning that they had found a group of mainland tourists occupying seats and sleeping in the 24-hour McDonald's in Mong Kok. These tourists didn't book hotels, but instead used the fast food restaurant as a place to rest overnight. This left dining customers without seats and led to some refusing to meet the minimum spending requirement. Photos circulating on the internet showed around 50 mainland tourists spending the night at a McDonald's in Mong Kok, with some sleeping on tables, others taking off their shoes and resting their feet, and luggage scattered across the floor. The scene made it difficult to tell whether it was a fast food restaurant or a hostel. The staff appeared to be overwhelmed and didn't intervene. Local media later coined the term McDonald's refugees for this group. A mainland blogger commented that after the previous year's incidents of tourists sleeping in a foot massage shop and Haidilao restaurants in China, these tourists have taken budget travel to new extremes by bringing this practice to Hong Kong and turning fast food chains into their new sleeping spots. In recent years, China's economic downturn has led to a trend of budget travel as people find different ways to travel on a shoestring. One popular style, known as commando tourism, involves walking tens of thousands of steps a day and visiting as many sites as possible with least time and money. This year's May Day saw a rise in tourists bringing their own tents, known as the Field Army by netizens. These tourists avoid hotels and hostels, choosing instead to set up camp in scenic spots. This trend has caused concern in the hotel industry. Now, this budget travel trend has extended beyond mainland China, and Hong Kong has become another hotspot. Some mainland bloggers pointed out that young people from mainland China know that hotel prices in Hong Kong rise several times during holidays. However, to save on accommodation, they have resorted to sleeping in McDonald's and KFC locations, even though Hong Kong is an expensive city. Many Hong Kongers see this and laugh, shaking their heads and mocking mainland tourists. Some mainland netizens added that if this doesn't work out, there are overnight buses to the Huanggang port that allows 24-hour border crossings back to mainland China. Restaurants and eateries are being taken over, but Hong Kong people are showing great tolerance. Some Hong Kong citizens believe that mainland tourists sleeping in fast food restaurants harms the city's image. While fewer people dine in at night compared to during the day, no one wants to be eating a hamburger next to a stranger snoring. This happens in public spaces, not in a hotel. Staff members may feel uncomfortable seeing people sleeping in the restaurant. Additionally, tourists lingering in public spaces at night could increase safety risks. Some netizens on Facebook defended the mainland tourists, saying that McDonald's, which is primarily a place to eat, has become a temporary hotel. This highlights a lack of adequate tourism facilities in Hong Kong. They argued that for budget travelers, there aren't many options available. They hope Hong Kong will have more affordable accommodation options, like hostels, so budget travelers can have a proper place to rest. A Hong Kong netizen replied, criticizing this argument. A Hong Kong netizen said that when traveling, one should live within their means and avoid disturbing the daily lives of local residents. 24-hour restaurants are meant for people working non-standard hours. They urge tourists to be good global citizens, so they would be welcome wherever they go. Others also pointed out that Hong Kong isn't suited for budget travel, suggesting that if someone is on a tight budget, they should travel within mainland China, where there are plenty of places to visit without disrupting local life. A mainlander noted that young people's budget travel now goes beyond simply saving money. It has become a form of social boasting. A survey showed that some mainland tourists who slept overnight in McDonald's did so due to tight schedules or unexpected situations, such as losing their documents. They didn't completely intend to take advantage of the situation. However, some intentionally planned to save money on accommodations or even shared their experiences in travel guides. Some mainland netizens also discovered that in addition to sleeping in McDonald's for free, it's possible to sleep at the floor in the Hong Kong airport. A female mainland blogger posted a guide on Xiaohongshu titled Budget Travel in Hong Kong, Overnight at Hong Kong Airport. She taught people how to sleep on the floor at the airport, take free water, and find free charging stations, stating that by putting aside your shame, you can sleep anywhere, and outdoor adventurers can save hundreds on accommodation. She even left blankets and sleeping bags on airport chairs for others to take. The blogger described that at the Hong Kong airport, travelers can either sleep in the VIP lounge or use public area lounge chairs after passing security, but she made it clear that she wouldn't choose the VIP lounge. In the photo she posted, she can be seen resting on the floor near the gates, setting up a mat, pillow, and backpack, and proudly posing for a selfie. Both mainland and Hong Kong netizens debated the post, with some criticizing the practice of sleeping on the floor as outrageous and creating chaos. The rise of budget travelers from mainland China has had a direct impact on Hong Kong's consumption. Hong Kongers have said that this phenomenon brings crowds but not money. According to Hong Kong newspaper Mingpao, by 9 p.m. on May 5th, a total of 913,000 mainland visitors entered Hong Kong during the 5-day May Day Golden Week holiday, a 19.2% increase from last year. The media surveyed mainland tourists at the border about their spending habits. Among 181 respondents, excluding accommodation costs, 64% spent more than 1,000 yuan, while about 17% spent less than 500 yuan. Some spent over 100,000 yuan and stayed in hotels, while others were backpackers camping in Hong Kong, spending only 500 yuan over 3 days. Nearly 90% of respondents said most of their expenses were on food, with shopping mainly for medicine, health products, and cosmetics. Overnight and non-overnight tourists made up roughly equal halves. When it comes to accommodation, nearly half of the non-overnight mainland tourists believe that Hong Kong's convenient transportation allows them to visit and return in the same day, while about 40% think the accommodation is too expensive. Mr. Li and his friend from Fuzhou were unable to buy same-day train tickets back to China on May 2nd. They jokingly said, "It's over, we have to sleep on the streets," and they decided to spend the night at a McDonald's in the nearby Baicheng building. He mentioned that Hong Kong hotel prices are exorbitant, especially during holidays, when prices can double. He said, "A few days ago, I saw hotels for a few $100s, but now they're about 5 times the price." Li Chun, a commentator for the World Journal, noted that mainland tourists visiting Hong Kong have shifted from spending most of their time in the bustling city centers for shopping to more nature-oriented activities, like hiking and sightseeing. In the past, mainland tourists mainly visited popular sites like Tsim Sha Tsui and Causeway Bay. Hong Kong was once known as a shopper's paradise, and it was also a food paradise, but now they neither shop nor dine as much. Hong Kong's large department stores still have their usual crowds, but mainland tourists no longer flock to buy luxury brands. They still visit pharmacies to buy snacks, and large restaurants are no longer busy with queues, while fast food places are packed with mainland tourists looking to fill their stomachs. Mr. Li also mentioned that friends from Guangzhou have said that when they visit Hong Kong, the whole family now goes for outdoor activities, and most return to Shenzhen or Zhuhai to sleep at night. Thanks to the convenient transportation, there are buses available even late at night, so they avoid staying in hotels that charge over 1,000 Hong Kong dollars. The president of the Hong Kong Catering Industry Association, Wong Ka-wah, stated that during the May Day holiday, the restaurant business was down by more than 10% compared to usual days. Tourism professionals also noted that the trends of budget travel in Hong Kong and outdoor tourism are widely discussed on Chinese social media. This proves that Hong Kong has truly become a place with crowds but no money. The change in mainland tourists' spending habits over the past year is undeniable. Gloria, the head of a Japanese restaurant called Yama, explained that due to the shift in mainland spending patterns toward cheaper options, their business has decreased by 10 to 20% compared to the same period last year. She explained that although they initially expected some growth in income, it didn't materialize because tourists still have less spending power and prefer deep travel experiences and remote areas for photos, rather than dining in restaurants, leading to a disappointing overall business performance. Faced with a significant drop in mainland tourist spending compared to pre-pandemic times, Dr. Yuan Winghan, a lecturer at the University of Hong Kong's Business School, suggested that Hong Kong could follow Venice's model and charge an ecological construction fee in the suburbs, raising the cost of tourism to attract higher spending visitors. Venice began charging a €5 entry fee for non-overnight visitors on certain days starting last year. Mainland tourists have not only failed to bring the expected spending to Hong Kong, but their behavior has also drawn criticism from local residents. On May 4th, the owner of an Italian restaurant in Mong Kok posted on social media, sharing that despite the crowded streets during the May Day holiday, his restaurant had zero customer traffic after 6 p.m. on May 3rd. He blamed some tourists for refusing to make reasonable purchases, which led to a decrease in the restaurant's revenue. The owner gave an example. On the evening of May 3rd, he witnessed a mainland family of of 4 ordering just 2 bowls of single-dish rice noodles at 35 Hong Kong dollars each, as their total didn't meet the restaurant's minimum spending requirement of 35 Hong Kong dollars per person. They had an intense argument with the staff. This penny pinching affected the business and scared off potential customers. He mentioned that the family was speaking loudly, discussing what to eat in a manner that was quite shocking. When the staff informed them that their spending didn't meet the minimum requirement, the mainland tourists angrily shouted, "We're not beggars, we refuse this. No wonder your restaurant is so empty." And then they refused to leave. After the situation dragged on for nearly 20 minutes, the person who posted the video said he couldn't bear it anymore and paid his bill to leave. After the post was shared, it garnered more than 500,000 views on social media. Critics argued that such behavior harms Hong Kong's service industry. One person commented, "Tourists should understand the local cost of living before traveling and assess if they can afford it." Others agreed that overcrowding can affect one's desire to spend, suggesting it might be better to stay home and eat. Meanwhile, during the May Day holiday, many mainland tourists came to Hong Kong, and metro seats were limited. Instead of mutual understanding, some mainland tourists displayed behavior that caught many by surprise. At around 8 p.m. on May 4th, a Hong Kong resident posted a 7-second video on social media platform Threads, showing mainland tourists causing a disturbance at the Hong Kong station on the East Rail Line. In the video, as the train doors opened at Hong Kong, more than 10 mainland tourists ignored the rule to let passengers off first and rushed into the train. This included children and young men and women, all scrambling for available seats with smiling faces, seemingly pleased with their success. The video also showed that while one man had been standing near the train doors waiting to get off, the sudden influx of tourists prevented him from exiting. He had to step aside to let the tourists board before he could get off. The video sparked heated discussions online, with some jokingly calling it super ultra seat grabbing. Others criticized the seat snatching as inappropriate, with some commenting that it was like a zombie siege and very rude. Chinese affairs expert Yue Shan stated that the poor reputation of mainland tourists abroad is a result of the Chinese Communist Party's rule, which has caused many Chinese to lose their sense of civility. However, Yue Shan believes that Hong Kong itself is no longer what it once was in terms of political freedom, economic prosperity, and civility. He argues that due to the strong crackdown by the Communist Party on the anti-extradition movement in recent years, Hong Kong has lost its democracy and has become more like mainland China. The city's former status as an international financial center has been lost. Furthermore, mainland Chinese have increasingly replaced the local Hong Kong population, changing the overall atmosphere of the city. In the 2025 Global Press Freedom Index released by Reporters Without Borders, China ranked third from the bottom, and for the first time, Hong Kong also fell into the worst category, labeled as extremely difficult. During this year's May Day holiday, many mainland Chinese traveled abroad. According to the latest data, the number of transactions made using WeChat Pay by Chinese tourists increased by 37% year-on-year. Hong Kong, Macau, Japan, South Korea, and Southeast Asia saw the fastest growth, making them popular travel destinations. However, these tourists are likely from the wealthier segments of the Chinese population, and it seems they're also adopting a budget traveler mentality when traveling abroad. For instance, Malaysia recently implemented permanent visa-free entry for Chinese citizens starting in April, leading to an influx of Chinese tourists during the May Day holiday. Recently, a mother and daughter from China visited a well-known durian stall in Sabah, Malaysia. They were there to try a variety of local durian. The durian was priced at 59 Malaysian ringgit, but the two were dissatisfied with its taste and only wanted to pay 50. This led to a dispute with the shopkeeper, which lasted for about 9 minutes.
I'm already 70 years old and I still have to argue with you over a few bucks. Does that make you happy?
No, if I give you money like this, I feel like a fool, you know. I've already given you 50, and you're still asking for more. The incident sparked heated online debate. Some local netizens commented, "People with a gangster attitude should stay home. They belong behind the wall. They should post their faces so the whole world can see them. This is clearly a scam. They just want a free meal. The police and immigration should be called to kick them out of Malaysia. Our people don't welcome them." The mentality of Chinese people is really hard to understand. Who raised them? Chinese tourists who don't pay for visas lack manners and quality. Malaysia must regret it. Singapore regrets it too. It's better to pay for a visa and travel with a good character, instead of high-budget travel with low-quality behavior. Independent commentator Du Zheng said that China used to be a country of etiquette. The civility of Chinese people changed after 1949, when the Chinese Communist Party took over. It got even worse after the Cultural Revolution of the 60s. He argued that the normal thinking of Chinese people has been altered. Therefore, these uncivilized behaviors, whether in China or abroad, should be blamed on the Communist Party.